Welcome back. Some people are trying to force the Alabama Secretary of State to stop blocking people on Twitter. We have a peek at a creationist-themed park in Lower Alabama, and is it going to start cooling off soon? I'm Mike Morgan, down in Alabama. Alabama Secretary of State John Merrill has an active Twitter account, and he's blocked some people just like you and I might. Blocking someone keeps them from seeing your posts and keeps you from having to see theirs. It's a tool that can improve your blood pressure if you use it to end conversations with mean or annoying people. And some folks find it cathartic to click a button on the screen to get someone out of their face. Kind of like getting to be an umpire and ejecting a mouthy manager who's been in your ear for 7 or 8 innings. Now, it's legally okay if you and I block folks, but courts might decide that it's a whole different ballgame with John Merrill. AL.com's Connor Sheets reports that 3 Alabamians, with help from the ACLU, are suing Merrill because he blocked them on Twitter. They claim that being blocked violates their First Amendment rights. Remember that Merrill is a public official, and so he tweets as a public official. Said ACLU lawyer Brock Boone, quote, "When a government official intentionally opens up a public conversation, that official can't block individuals from joining the conversation because of the views that are expressed," end quote. Now, you might remember that earlier this year a federal judge ruled that President Trump couldn't block people on Twitter. Now, that decision could have just as easily been on the grounds that nobody should be deprived of getting to see those early morning Twitter rants. That's part of the American experience, by golly. The Trump suit was a very similar case in a different court. As for this one, Merrill thinks it's a silly lawsuit. He told Connor, quote, "It's not worth the ACLU's time. It's a political hack job, and they're trying to build support for the Democratic nominee for Secretary of State." Well, most things are political, but regardless of the motive, it's an interesting part of the law that we're fleshing out now, and we'll have to see how it goes. Well, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. In one way or another, a lot of us believe that. It's the academic intent of the verses that follow that sometimes gets us riled up in conversation. Dinosaur Adventureland is a park in Conecuh County where they interpret Genesis literally. AL.com's Anna Claire Vollers described it as part science center, part campground, part four-wheeler park, and part evangelical church. Anna Claire went down to Lenox, Alabama, population 37, to check it out for herself. And here's some of what she saw.
I got to meet Pastor Kent Hovind, the founder of Dinosaur Adventureland, and he's a character. He's a longtime Baptist preacher, a former high school science teacher. He spent 9 years in federal prison for tax fraud, and now he's an internet star with more than 100,000 followers on YouTube. His goal is to prove the Bible is true and scientifically accurate, and that evolution is, in his words, the dumbest religion in the history of the world. Dinosaur Adventureland is located in the backwoods of Conecuh County in South Alabama. There's space there for camping and boating and fishing. There's a science center where Hovind and other volunteers teach about scientific principles and how they believe those principles jive with what the Bible teaches. They believe that God created the universe in 6 days and that the earth is about 6,000 years old. They also took me four-wheeling while I was there, and I have to say that was one of the most fun reporting experiences I've had in a long time. Some people think Hovind is running a cult, but he and the volunteers who work at Dinosaur Adventureland say they're running a ministry to save souls and teach people about God. You can see for yourself. The park is free and it's open to the public.
Well, thanks, Anna Claire. You can read a lot more about Anna Claire's trip if you search AL.com for Dinosaur Adventureland or go to AL.com/living and scroll down till you see the story. Now, after that story, I'm not sure exactly who might be listening, so I'm going to keep this next one clean. But AL.com's Carol Robinson reports that if you were a Wednesday morning commuter on Birmingham's South Side, you might have been distracted by a naked man in a fountain at 5 Points South. Now, he was in the Storyteller Fountain, the one in front of the Methodist Church with a statue of that half man, half goat. Look, there's a dozen ways to deliver this story. We don't want to make fun of the guy. They took him to UAB for mental evaluation. Carol said they didn't think he was injured physically, so hopefully everything will be okay once he gets what he needs. And one more thing, lovers of summertime can rejoice. It ain't going anywhere real soon. Lee Morgan reports that even though fall officially begins in a few days, this hot weather we're having in the state will likely stick around through the end of the month. Maybe we'll get some relief after that. Thank y'all for listening. We'll do it again tomorrow. Until then, come by and see us anytime at al.com.